Hello, my name is Madeline, and welcome to this grounding yin yoga practice for relaxation. So, today we'll be getting a lot into that lower body, the hips, and the spine. And let's get right into it. We'll start with some breath to really ground even further into the space. We'll do some box breathing today, which is where you inhale for a count of 4. You hold your breath at the top for a count of 4. Exhale for a count of 4, and then hold your breath at the bottom for a count of 4. So exhale all the air out now. Take an inhale through the nose, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the top, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the bottom, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the top, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the bottom, 2, 3, 4. And just do a couple more rounds of those at your own pace. And finishing up your last round here, no rush at all. And then return back to your regular breath. And we'll do a tiny bit of movement before getting into our yin poses. And we'll do some seated cat-cows. You can bring the hands to the knees. And as you inhale, begin to arch the spine forward, looking up, then rounding the back as you exhale. And from here, take any kind of fluid movement that feels good in the body. So maybe you want to take some circles or twist in one direction and then the other. It's up to you, whatever feels good. And take one more breath in your movement. And then we'll come back to center and we'll actually come to stand on our mats to come into a dangling pose. Apologies if I'm a little off camera at the moment. And so you're going to come into that straight leg position, standing tall, and then start to fold forward over those legs. You can bend the knees as much as you like here. And then grab hold of opposite elbows and just let yourself dangle here. If the arm positioning doesn't feel good, feel free to just let the arms fall to the ground. And again, you can bend those knees as much as feels good. So, really getting an opening across the back body. Try to make sure those feet are firmly planted in the earth. And try to imagine any stress, any tension just rolling off the back. And breathe deeply here. Letting everything go. With each breath, maybe you sink a little deeper. And we'll just take a few more breaths here. And take one last deep breath. If you have hold of opposite elbows, beginning to let that go. And we're going to inch our feet a little wider across the mat. So a little wider, and then start to sink those hips down so that you're in a squat position. And if you have a block, option to grab a block and sit up on that instead if that feels better. And bring the palms together into a prayer position at your heart so that your elbows, your arms are pressing into those inner knees. And this can be intense, so we won't stay here super long, but just getting a really nice opening in those hips. And try to focus on the breath here. And we'll take a couple more deep breaths. I know this one can be intense. And take one last deep breath and then let it all go. We'll just come back into that dangling position, forward fold, just for a moment to release the backs of those legs. And then whenever you're ready, getting there, however feels best for you, make your way back down onto your hands and knees. And once you're in this position, you can start to take a couple of cat-cows. Take any kind of movement again that feels right in your body. And then return back to your neutral tabletop. And we're going to come into a melting heart pose. So in melting heart, you want to keep those knees and hips in one line if possible. If you have a blanket, you can place that underneath the knees. And then start to walk your hands up towards the top of the mat. You can grip the top of the mat with your fingertips here if that feels good, if you want even more opening in the shoulders. And then whenever you're ready, start to draw the chest down to the mat. Maybe the forehead touches the mat here. Feeling that nice opening in the upper body and the shoulders. If you feel any pain, any tingling in those arms, you can always spread them wider across the mat. And settling in here for your melting heart. Remember your deep breathing. And we'll take a couple more breaths here. And then stay low to the mat. Begin to slowly slide back, bringing the knees together for your closed leg child's pose. The arms reaching behind you. Maybe you want to rock that forehead from side to side on the mat. Really feeling the earth against your forehead. And settling here for a few moments as we rest. And let's take one more breath in this child's pose. Slowly start to roll back up, pressing back onto those hands, sliding over to one side, and bring those legs out long in front of you. You can shake them out a little bit, rock them a little side to side if that feels good. And then we'll come back into stillness, legs out long. We're going to come into a half shoelace pose. So you're going to take that right leg, bend the knee, and then stack that right knee on top of the left knee so they're really in one line here. If this really just doesn't feel good in your body, option to come to a half butterfly instead, placing the sole of the right foot on the left thigh. And wherever you are, if upright feels like enough for you, you can stay there. If you want more, start to fold forward over those legs. You might not go too far, that's totally okay. And just try to let the body soften, let the head drop, and sink into this pose. We'll take a couple more deep breaths here. And on your last breath, starting to slowly crawl those fingertips back up. If you are folding forward, you can release that right leg. Again, maybe shake those legs out a little bit. Option to do a couple windshield wipers, rocking from side to side, just to release that spine. And then return back to center again with those legs stretched out long. This time we're going to come into a half saddle pose. So again, bend at that right knee and then start to draw that right foot back. So the top of the right foot is going to be flush with the mat. And this can be kind of outside your glute, or you can sit on top of it, just whatever feels good in the body. And this can already be intense, so if you want to stay here, that's great. You can always bend this left knee a little bit to make it a little more gentle. And if you want to go deeper, you can come back down onto your forearms. The last option is to come down all the way onto your back and maybe even reach the arms up above you and grab hold of opposite elbows so you're opening in the chest a little bit. Listening to whatever feels right in your body here. And breathe into that right thigh, right hip. And let's take a couple more breaths here. And then whenever you're ready, no rush. If you're all the way down on your backs, beginning to release those arms, press back up onto your forearms, and back up onto the hands. And be really gentle here and release that right leg out. Pause for a moment, notice how it feels, notice the difference in the two sides. You can shake those legs out a little bit. Maybe take a twist to one side and then the other side before we do that sequence on the left. Just taking any movement your body is needing to feel good here. And then whenever you're ready, stretch those legs back out long. We'll come into half shoelace on the other side. So this time, bring that left leg over the right. So the left knee is going to be stacking directly on top of the right, if that's possible. Again, option to go for a half butterfly instead with the left foot pressing on the right thigh. And so you can stay upright here. If you want more, start to fold forward over that right leg. And know things can be very different between the two sides. So just observing that, observing without judgment, and melting into the pose. And let's take a couple more breaths here. And if you're folding forward, starting to slowly roll back up, releasing that left leg, being really gentle here, maybe shaking it out, maybe taking a couple windshield wipers from side to side. It's up to you. Then wherever you are, whenever you're ready, return back to center, legs stretched out long, and we'll come into a half saddle again. So this time bending at the left knee, and then the top of that left foot will be pressing down on the mat. So again, try to see if you can get those knees in line with each other. And if you want to make it a little more gentle, you can always bend in that right knee as well, so it's not so intense. And you can stay upright like this. If you want some more, start to come down onto those forearms. If you want even more than that, come down onto your back. Then take hold of opposite elbows above the head, going for the opposite grip you did on the other side. And no, it's totally fine to do a different variation than you did on the other side. I know for me, this side's definitely tighter, so no worries if that's you as well. And wherever you are, breathing into that left thigh, and the left hip. And let's take a couple more breaths here. And if you have hold of opposite elbows, beginning to let that go, press back up onto the forearms, then back up onto the hands. Really taking your time here, being gentle with yourself, and releasing that left leg out long. Definitely might feel a bit sensitive here. So you can shake out those legs if it feels good. Then we'll come down all the way onto our backs, and we're just going to pause here on our backs for a few moments just to notice the effects of the poses you've done so far, and observe how the body is feeling. And take one more breath on your back here. And then start to draw those knees into the chest. You can rock the knees a bit side to side. Maybe make some circles in those knees to release the spine and the back. Then coming back to center, we're going to come into a single leg twist. So you're going to keep that left knee hugging into the chest, and then stretch that right leg out long. And start to drop that left knee over to the right. Then reach the left arm out into a T shape or cactus. Trying to get that left shoulder to remain pressing on the mat. It's more important than getting your knee all the way down. And you can always go for a double leg twist instead with the knees together if single leg twist doesn't feel good in your body. And then send the breath all the way up and down the spine. And we'll take a couple more breaths in this twist. Take one last deep breath. And then slowly start to draw that left leg back to center and hug that right knee back into the chest as well. Again, maybe rocking a little side to side. And then we'll come right into the twist on the other side. So this time hugging that right knee into the chest and the left leg extends out long. And start to drop that left knee over to the right and reach that right arm out into a T shape or cactus again. Trying to keep right shoulder pressing down on the mat. Option again to come into a double leg twist instead of a single leg twist if that feels better. And wherever you are, sending that breath up and down the spine. And let's take a couple more breaths here. Taking one last deep breath. And slowly drawing that right knee back into the chest. Bringing the left knee to meet it. And again, maybe rocking a little side to side. Maybe making some circles in the knees. And then returning back to center, we're going to come into a happy baby. So you can start to let those knees kind of drop over to the sides. The soles of the feet will be pointing up towards the sky. And maybe you grab hold of the outsides of those feet, allowing the knees to drop down a little bit more. And we won't be here for super long, definitely can be intense. So just trying to breathe into that hip space. Again, imagine any last tension, any last stress just coming off the body. An option to rock a little bit side to side here if that feels good as well. And take one last breath here and slowly let it go. You can stretch those legs out long, maybe shaking them out a little bit. Pausing for a couple moments. We're not in Shavasana quite yet. We just have one more pose left. But allowing yourself to pause here for a couple moments. And take one more deep breath here. And then start to draw those legs back in, feet planted on the mat. We're going to come into a waterfall pose. So if you have a block, this is a great place to grab that block. If you don't have one, no worries. I'll give an option. So if you don't have the block, just start to extend those legs straight up to the ceiling. If you do have that block, begin to lift those hips and place the block underneath the sacrum, tailbone area. So making sure it's not on the low back. And then reaching those legs up here. So block or not, those legs will be reaching up towards the ceiling. You can have a slight bend in the knees here if that feels good. And let everything go here. And let's take a couple more breaths in waterfall. And on your last breath, really slowly beginning to release those legs, feeling the sensation in that low body. If you're using the block, gently lifting the hips up and sliding the block out from underneath you. From here, start to take any final poses or movement your body is needing before we move into Shavasana. So maybe you want to go for some windshield wipers or any movement that feels good. And then whenever you're ready, no rush, you can extend those legs out long. Let the arms drape out to the sides. And surrender into the earth for your final resting pose, Shavasana. And if you have the time, I encourage you to stay in the Shavasana for as long as you like. If you have to get going, you can join me for one final breath. Exhale the air out now. Take an inhale through the nose. And then a big sigh out the mouth. And thank you so much for practicing with me. I hope you're feeling more grounded. And if you'd like to see more yin yoga videos like this, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you again next time.